Hello everyone and welcome to Sunday. It has been a while since we have had Five Guys because we've been watching calories, and admittedly Five Guys is not like the best decision you could make, but we've been doing so well that we're like, yeah, let's have Five Guys. So we decided to go to Five Guys. So
Plus we're making a good dinner choice.
Yeah, and we're making a good dinner choice, so it kind of balances out. So we've got a beautiful burger here. I haven't had Five Guys in a bit, and we do have some fries, but we got a little fry. So we're enjoying, honestly, the weather. I don't know what's up with today, but it's like one of the nicest days in recent
Beautiful
memory.
fall day.
Pretty much.
At 80 degrees with like 20% humidity.
Fall is coming, and it's really nice. Anyway, we're not talking about that today. We're talking about Dragon Ball. This is going to be our Dragon Ball Season 1 review, because we just finished watching through all of Season 1 of Dragon Ball, which is the first 31 episodes. So Mao and I are going to talk about it, just for the fact that I have never seen all of Dragon Ball, and I've only ever seen, I think, the first season.
The censored season?
And yeah, like I haven't seen it uncut like it has been. Before we get started, my history of the Dragon Ball series is being introduced to Dragon Ball Z as a middle schooler and being like, this is awesome, but having to watch it through Toonami, where like there was a new episode like once a week and it took forever to get anywhere, and then only learning about like Dragon Ball sometime later and watching probably about the first season, but intermittently, and also not the uncut version. Hi, Sagan. As far as like the manga, I've read just a little bit further ahead than this in the manga, and that's it. Like, we're getting to the point now that we finished Season 1 that I have no idea what's coming up. I do not know the story of Dragon Ball, so it's going to be really interesting. That's my history of Dragon Ball. Let's talk about yours. None. So this was really fun because, you know, anytime I've talked about Dragon Ball Z in the past with Mao, I've been like, well, it's pretty much two guys standing across from each other screaming, and it just cuts back and forth to them for like 5 episodes, which is not completely far-fetched. Dragon Ball Z is a lot of that. It's a pretty entertaining show, but it's way too long-winded, and it is a fighting show. Dragon Ball, however, is more of an adventure type show, and it's much more lighthearted and fun. And I was like, well, why don't we watch Dragon Ball? If we watch Dragon Ball and we're attached to the characters and you want to see what happens next, then we'll watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, because Kai is like Dragon Ball Z but without all of the fluff. But we just finished Season 1, and I want to know what you thought.
I liked it.
That's good. We have watched the first season, which covers, and obviously this is going to be probably maybe a little spoilery if you've never seen Dragon Ball. It covers from the very beginning where Bulma finds Goku up until it covered the last episode of the Season 1 DVD is where they're planning the wedding for Chi-Chi and Goku, even though Goku has like no idea what's going on. So what have you enjoyed about Dragon Ball thus far?
I like the humor.
The humor.
The random lines.
You've watched more anime than I have, so that's what you have to compare it to. Yeah. The only anime I've really seen besides Dragon Ball Z and I guess Dragon Ball is Furikuri, Trigun, and a little bit of Case Closed. I've seen other stuff here and there. I've seen like a little bit of Lupin the Third, and I have liked what I've seen there.
That's a good show.
And I've seen, God, like, not much else. I've watched maybe an episode of One Piece, and not far beyond that, like very, very little. But you've watched a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
So when you compare Dragon Ball to other animes, how does it compare?
I don't know. I've enjoyed it. It's different.
I mean, a lot of people cite Dragon Ball as being like one of the most important, if not the most important anime.
I have no idea.
So I was just curious.
I saw a lot of Case Closed. In fact, I watched a ton of it, I believe, 2006. I was watching like fan subtitled episodes that were like way, way, way in the future of where it was translated in English.
And you've seen all of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes.
And
I have seen a lot of Sailor Moon before they started putting it on Hulu.
But at this point, you've seen like all of it, pretty much.
Yes, because I've seen all of Stars, and I'm on, God, whatever's out on Hulu right now. I'm caught up. So
So you've seen a lot, but it's good that you're enjoying Dragon Ball. Do you have a favorite character so far?
The Nimbus.
Flying Nimbus is your favorite character? Okay.
I keep giving the Nimbus a voice.
Yeah. Nimbus has had to save Goku so many times in the first season. There's just so many. In fact, like back-to-back episodes, they'll be like, "Man, Nimbus saved Goku like 4 times," and Goku will be falling, be like, "Nimbus, help me!" And then Nimbus comes help him. The first season is good, and for anyone who has not seen Dragon Ball, I would really recommend it, especially if you've watched Dragon Ball Z or parts of Dragon Ball Z and you like it. I think Dragon Ball is better. And I may not feel like that once we start watching Kai, but for right now I feel like, man, Dragon Ball is a better show. It's much more fun. It's much more lighthearted. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of stuff in the uncut version that is not in the version that I had seen on television. It's not like bad stuff. What am I trying to say?
Are you talking about like the censors?
Yeah, like the censored stuff. Like it's not bad stuff. It's
stuff they would have censored in the 90s.
Yeah,
and would not have a G rating now. Still.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual humor, but it's not extreme sexual humor.
I mean, like, Goku's trying to figure out who's a boy and who's a girl.
Yeah,
and he can't tell by just looking.
Yeah, Goku doesn't possess the ability to tell whether someone is a boy or a girl, so he checks them. So, like, he goes up to people and just pats their crotch, and everyone, obviously is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, you're a boy," or "Oh, you're a girl." And it's just, like, I've never seen that part of Dragon Ball. I knew about that from the manga, but I didn't know that was, like, a recurring thing. Because he's done that, like, 20 times now, and it's still really funny. So there's a lot of humor. Also, Master Roshi seems like a far bigger pervert than I originally thought him to be. Like, I knew he was a perverted character, but, like, he's a giant pervert. Like, every single thought in his head, every single thing that comes out of his mouth.
It's something.
Yeah, like, I don't know. But as far as, like, following the story, I think the first few episodes are extremely strong. They introduce you to characters that even if you've only seen Dragon Ball Z, that you already know and love. And it's worth watching. The first 5 episodes are available to watch for free on Hulu, and you can watch them. For the record, Mal and I are watching the dub just because I like the dub voices. I know some people are like hardcore subtitle people. I actually really like the dub voices in both Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, so we're watching the dub.
I like subtitle things.
I know, but the dub voices in Dragon Ball are good.
Yeah.
They may have to grow on you.
Yeah.
But they're good.
I mean, the voices themselves are fine. I always get thrown off by the mouth movements.
Yeah, they're not perfect, but
I cannot stand Poir's voice.
Yacha!
God.
But the first season overall is a great season. It's a great introduction. You basically have them going on an adventure, and once again, this is a little spoilery, so you're warned. They're going on their adventure. You're introduced to all these characters that continually recur, and you're introduced to them very quickly. You have a lot of cool elements with, like, both Oolong and Poir being able to shapeshift. And then you also have the fact that they get the Dragon Balls. Mm-hmm. I remember when we were watching, it was like episode 10 or something, and you're like, they're going to get all the Dragon Balls. Like, how is there 4 or 5 seasons of this show? They're going to get the Dragon Balls. And I'm like, well, they'll get them again, So they get the Dragon Balls, they wish for panties, because of course they do. And then they start the World Martial Arts tournament. And I think that entire thing is really interesting.
Can't believe I was scared of that pig.
That's a line before that, but yeah. But the World Martial Arts Tournament is good, where they're training for that and then actually go through the tournament. That, like, part of me thought that kind of felt really drawn out.
Yeah.
Because they were doing 1 fight per episode, and then the final fight they did over the course of like 3 or 4. But I still really enjoyed it. And honestly, I've enjoyed everything up to this point. I think season 1's really strong, and it's a really fun watch. Now we're getting into the point where they're going to introduce the Red Ribbon Army, because they just started to do that, like in the very last episode of season 1. and then that starts an entire other thing. I'm only vaguely familiar with the story of Dragon Ball, so as we go on, I'm going to be seeing a lot of new stuff too, and I think that's exciting. Anyway, that is our review of Dragon Ball Season 1. If you guys have seen Dragon Ball and would like to chime in with your thoughts on the first season, go ahead.
Try not to spoil anything for me.
Yeah, that's the only thing. We're talking strictly about Season 1. The first 31 episodes, period. Please don't talk anything further than that, because we're both going through it. And, I mean, obviously Mal's new to the series, but I still haven't seen everything there is in Dragon Ball either, so we'd like to stay spoiler-free if possible. Obviously, it's weird because, like, I know Dragon Ball Z, so, like, I know where that picks up, but, like, from there backwards, you know, I don't know.
You have this gap.
Yeah, there's a gap missing for me. And, like, I know some key events that happen in there based on, like, what people say in Dragon Ball Z, and then also just being on the internet for a while, but I don't know everything, so it's going to be exciting for me too to finally get the full story of Dragon Ball. But yeah, recommended, definitely recommended, and I think Mal and I are both really excited to go into Season 2. Anyway, that's it for today. Like I said, talk about Dragon Ball Season 1, as long as you keep it to Season 1, and if you like it, talk about it. If you don't like it, talk about it, and we'll talk about Season 2 once we finally get through that. It's gonna be a little while, but probably not too much longer. We've been watching 1, sometimes 2 episodes a night.
We've been doing good.
So we'll probably talk about it in like 3 weeks or so. 3 or 4 weeks maybe. Let's be back tomorrow, shall we? Was there ever a point where you took a photograph and you were like, dang, that is good?
There's a few that I took, I felt that way, but there were some Jared took, oh my god.
I'm about to get a strike.
I hope you do.
Yep. Just need to increase my speed to ridiculous level.
Ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous speed.